A lot of paperwork that you got today, Jeff. That's how I know you're organized, because all of this paper was written before I got here, at least.
This is how you wait till the last minute to do things, It's one of my specialties, one of my superpowers, actually.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. I don't know what you'd call it, though.
It's called unpreparedness. And
yes.
What's the other word for it?
Procrastination.
Yeah, there we go.
There it is.
Okay.
You are a professional procrastinator.
Well, I suffer from it.
Is it?
It's actually a disease.
Is it?
Procrastination. Yeah. It is to me, anyway.
Oh, okay.
So I've been recovering from procrastination for many years now.
Okay, about 34.
About 34 years.
Welcome to the most electrifying podcast this side of the planet. I am your co-host, James Anthony Williams. And
like
this
how-
is, wait, let me finish.
Okay.
And this is your host, coming from places unknown, Jeffrey F. Spain.
You want to redo that?
No, I'm good. That's solid.
You're going to do?
That's good.
That was good.
Cash the check.
So here's the deal, okay? Sparring etiquette, right? Sparring and what that looks like. Jiu-Jitsu world, we call it rolling. It's fun. It's the dessert of training, if you will. You come to class, you do your warm-up, you learn the technique, probably more than one technique in most cases, and then at the end of the class is typically where you find yourself in a live training situation.
Yep.
Right? It's you versus somebody else. And we're going to go over, first, a list of rules to kind of live by when you go to your open mat or you anticipate staying to do competition training or any kind of sparring. And then we're going to go into a story about Johnny the White Belt. James.
Yes.
You're going to love the number one thing that I put on the list here. Now, these aren't in any specific order, but
They're in order of most recent.
they're the first things that come to mind, okay? So the first one that I put is don't let your emotions take control.
Yeah.
James, what do you think I mean by that?
If you get your guard passed, or if you are in a really bad submission position, don't storm off the mat and go slap the wall.
Oh, no. No, you're not supposed to tell them that.
I didn't. Well, yeah, you tell them that.
Why are you telling everybody that?
I didn't tell anybody who did it or when it happened or even if it happened. This is
Okay, let's move on.
This is a
Let's move
hypothetical.
on. All right.
This is a hypothetical.
Even at a high level in jiu-jitsu with experience, your emotions can get involved. It's not good, okay? You shouldn't roll with the intention of winning every single roll. The roll should be, the intention is to learn or to grow in a specific manner. So don't let your emotions take control. It means exactly that, right? You're going to have to try to wipe the slate clean regardless of the outcome when you're in a sparring scenario.
Yeah, if your intention is to step into every single match, every session of, hey, just drilling, rolling, whatever it may be, if your intention is to walk away with your hand raised high, there's nothing on the line to win. So, just me personally, I look at a match as small events all in 1 3-minute or 5-minute round, or 6-minute round. So if I get to my close guard, that's my first up. If I get past, all right, I'm down. If I get back to my guard, that's another up. All of these are little wins. Every opportunity to get to where I want to be is a little victory. Something that comes to mind is whenever if you're driven by your emotions, you're missing out on the opportunity to learn and grow.
Nobody likes to lose, right?
No.
I mean, and that's okay, but like jiu-jitsu, that's why there's so few people that stick with this thing, man. It's not for
'Cause you gotta
everybody.
lose.
You have to lose. Like, that's the thing. Nobody can jump into jiu-jitsu with zero experience
Yeah.
and roll a black belt, and expect to do anything major. Now, if you're some kind of Division I wrestler and you have MMA experience and maybe you're younger and heavier and you're going against like a 60-year-old black belt.
Yeah, and you've got major muscle to back it. Like, you can get away with a lot of stuff that
Congratulations.
other people can't get away with.
Yeah, congratulations on your attributes.
You make up 2% of the entire population of the planet, probably, if that.
Yeah, I mean, you just found yourself in a lucky little genetic anomaly. I'm being a hater right now. I'm going to apologize. Sorry. Number 2. I think when you're sparring, you should know what your goal is in that match, and that's a lot of that is based on who you're rolling with. Mm-hmm. And we're going to expand on that in a little bit, okay? And we'll talk more about that. But, if they were to stop a sparring match, could you tell me exactly what your goal is in that moment? Right? Could you explain to me what your grips are doing? Could you explain to me, your goal in the position? So that was number 2.
I like that one. I see a lot of time as I'm growing more myself, I'm getting out of the mentality or trying at least to get out of the mentality that I got to win every match or that, hey, I have to work what I want to work. But what I was saying is I'm getting to a place in my jiu-jitsu journey where I'm trying to figure out how to make a match challenging enough for a white belt, but at the same time, not disheartening to them either. So I'm purposely mid-roll, I may stop and say, hey, what are you trying to do with this particular grip? Or, hey, if you put your leg here and that hand here, you can do this to me. Now, granted, I'm going to counter as well, but it gives you another opportunity to go that much further into where you're wanting to go.
Number 3 is to show up clean, man. Show up fresh. Show up like you care about your hygiene and you care about people who have to be like up close and personal with you. If you were going to go on a date with somebody who you really wanted to impress.
Or put in north-south.
I mean, that's kind of, or put in north-south. Really?
Hey.
That's kind of like
it's a different date.
That's what you want to do when you come to train, all right? People don't want to smell your nasty breath. If you just got off of work and you're gross, man, you got to go get cleaned up. You got to clean yourself up. Don't come into jiu-jitsu training. I mean, of course we want you to be there and be late, but if it's at the expense of like
hygiene.
It's
tough.
It turns into a safety concern at that point, right? Because if you're showing up all gross and unclean, people are going to associate you with that, and they're not going to want to roll with you. They're not going to want to train with you. So take care of yourself, please. Don't be gross. Trim your fingernails, situation. Right? Don't have long fingernails, toenails. Just don't be gross.
Makes it awkward for the other people in the gym if they have to tell you or the instructor. Don't make the job more difficult.
Both of the a couple of these hygienic, if you're not hygienic, leads to awkwardness.
Yeah.
If you let your emotions take control, leads to awkwardness.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If you don't know what you're doing and you're in a roll and
somebody
you're
gets
going
hurt,
crazy, somebody gets hurt, awkwardness.
It's going to be awkward.
So, sparring etiquette, take it seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, you say this is a list of things that lead to awkwardness. I actually see it so far as a list of things that lead to growth.
Right. If you refuse to address these things, they lead to awkwardness.
Well, not just that. Not just on the mat, but outside of here. Like if you've got good emotional control, you're going to be much more successful at your job than the girl or the guy that flies off the handle every time things don't go their way. Same thing with hygiene. If you are taking care of yourself in a situation where you have to be close and up personal with someone, it's going to lead to a better conversation just like in jiu-jitsu, that's a physical conversation. So I mean, this is not just an awkward list. We're going to positive spin it. We're going to put a positive spin on it.
All right, the last two I had, one was allow time to tap whenever possible, right? You get a hold of somebody's arm and you just try to snap it, and this guy's on your team. It's kind of like, okay, like, you know, you had to win that bad that you were going to risk hurting this guy and keeping him from training. You don't know how to control the position behind the submission. Like, those are things that you really have to learn about the game before you can expect to receive respect. You know, and but the problem is we get competitive, and people are going to be gunning for things, and sometimes you're not going to have time to use your hand, or you're going to be bound up and you won't be able to tap, so you're going to have to rely on your voice. You know, or stomping your feet. So, you know, as far as sparring etiquette's concerned, learn how to tap multiple ways so that you're able to protect yourself. Because it is not only half your partner's responsibility, it's half your own.
Yeah. You know, I like that one because if you are able to control the position to a place where I'm going to tap whether I want to or not, like, you don't have to rip it, because if you got to rip it to get it, well, you know, like, yeah, that's almost just like trying to be faster than me, which is great.
Yeah, that's fine.
But if you really know how to do it and you are controlling that person in that position so well that I can't stop this, like, that to me is a perfect submission. Like, that person has time to tap, because you can do an arm bar slow.
Oh yeah.
You can do a rear naked choke slow.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't take a whole lot of extra. Doesn't take any extra strength. All it takes is the ability to be consistently smooth with the strength that you're applying.
I mean, just know what kind of training you're doing. Like, if it's like, all right, no holds barred kind of training, like you've got an MMA fight coming up, or you have a jiu-jitsu tournament, and everybody's under the same understanding that tonight's practice we're sparring hard, like that's how it's going to be. And, you know, we're trying to win. That's different, right? Because now everybody's on their, you know, they're ready. They're ready to tap, but they're also ready to submit quickly. So, you know what kind of training you're doing too. Like, if it's just an open mat with your buddies on your team, there's no reason to go for flying submissions. And I mean, unless that's just what you guys want to do, in which case, you know, just communicate that with your partner. Yeah,
and the people around you, if you plan on doing flying arm bars, Jesus Christ.
The problem is a lot of people don't verbally communicate what they want out of the day or the match. So you'll have one guy who's like, "Oh, I'm gonna try to take it easy," and the other guy's like, "Ooh, I'm gonna kill this man. You know, I'm gonna murder him." And it's two completely different mindsets. And you gotta get that out in the open. You do that verbally first, right? You're not gonna, I mean, you'll know once you lock up when the bell rings, but it'd be nice to know ahead of time, like, what the intentions are of the person. I know we're kind of getting down a rabbit hole with this stuff, but
no, these are good. That's good. The last one for outside of here is patience. That's what that translates to, patience.
Well, the last one I wrote was be on time.
Well, I meant number 5.
Oh,
that's what I meant. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So I wrote be on time, and then I scribbled it out, and then I wrote it again. Because we have a lot of people that train at our school that like to
skip warm-ups.
And it doesn't mean that they're purposefully doing it, but I feel like it's definitely something in their control that can be avoided. So let's just touch on this for a moment. Let me challenge you a situation here. Everybody comes into training that's there on time. They're starting their work. They're doing their work. They're getting exhausted working. You come in.
Fresh as a daisy.
Skipped half the day, right? I mean, in your workplace, right?
Uh-oh.
If you're the guy who's managing, or you're the guy who shares a workload with somebody else, and that person doesn't show up until half the day is over, right? That person's probably not going to have the best reputation, right?
No.
So put the effort in that your teammates are making. It doesn't mean obviously I want people to come to make it as often as they can. Yeah. But if you're going to sign up for something like jiu-jitsu, prioritize it. And you know when the class times are, and try to be respectful of the fact that other people are making it a priority and being there when the class starts. So, do your work. Take that with you, I understand everybody has their excuses, but at the end of the day, we are in control of our schedules. So you can decide that for yourself if you think it's important enough.
Yeah, I understand life happens, and there are obstacles, but trying to find the opportunities to cut some time here and there so you can get what you need happens in other places in your life. So
yeah, don't be lazy, and then these same people will take breaks in between rounds. It's some people don't take breaks in between rounds. If you're gonna take a break in between rounds, then just be done for the day. You've got to be vulnerable when you train with your partners. You have to experience defeat. This is all part of the ego crushing formula that is jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. For me, there's a small part of me that appreciates when someone takes a break before I roll with them. And I've been rolling consistently the whole night, because when I get to that person, there's a little thing in my head that says, if I'm able to get what I want, as tired as I am right now, and they're fresh, that lets me know that I've gone a little further in my development. Yeah. So I'll take it. Go ahead and have a sip of a soda and kick your feet up for a few minutes. Let me finish this one, and then I'll come to you next. And
that's a good attitude. When somebody is trying to take a handicap or something, and you're like, all right, I'm take that challenge. That's the mindset you want. That's the growth mindset.
Yeah, but it also gives me an out if I lose to them. So it's like, well, I was pretty tired.
All right, so you're a new white belt, right? And we have this guy who
Johnny Silverhand.
We just made him up. His name is Johnny the White Belt, and we're gonna kind of walk through Johnny's experience at open mat. Okay, he shows up. He's on time, actually.
He's a good white belt.
He's had a good start.
Good. He did the first rule.
And he's going into a roll. His first roll is going to be with a bigger, heavier white belt. So he's starting with this guy. They're going to start sparring. We'll just say they're starting from the feet. What are some things, James, do you think that Johnny the white belt should consider? And we can also throw in there that maybe the bigger, heavier guy is maybe also a little dangerous too. Maybe he's, and it could also be a similar size guy, but just maybe just super dangerous. But bigger, heavier, dangerous opponent, you're unsure of your safety in this scenario. Go ahead, James.
I thought you were waiting on me. I'm sorry.
I'm interested to hear your answer, and then I'm going to add to it.
So, bigger, heavier, or more spastic, more dangerous, my first thoughts would be I need to pull him in my guard. I got to get us off of our feet before my leg gets broken.
Okay, that's a smart strategy. So, one thing is you could always say no. You could always say, no, I don't want to roll with this person.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay.
This is a trick question, by the way. He set me up completely.
But you should try to push yourself past your comfort zone, and that's going to require you rolling with people that are going to give you a realistic response, right?
Yeah.
If you were in a situation and on the street or something like that where you had a bigger person to face, how would you handle yourself if you had no choice? And if you have no experience in this situation, saying no is going to be a smart answer because you're just not ready for it.
Right.
Now, when to say yes? Okay, maybe Johnny the white belt has about a month of experience over this bigger, heavier guy who's coming in here, right? First class, he's just a bigger dude. I think pulling guard is an exceptional idea, but the problem is if I just pull guard and I'm just kind of hanging out waiting for him, trying to defend my guard, there's a good chance the big guy will pass just based on size, right? So from here, my real focus is to expect that he's going to be stronger and dominate, and to try to just survive the role, right? Try to keep yourself in positions that aren't going head to head, brawling with somebody who's outweighs you by 50, 60, in some cases 100 pounds.
Yeah. So in that case, probably getting in tight and close and try to avoid his limbs.
Yeah,
working them to his back or his stomach.
Getting close. Hopefully you're at a place where they teach people not to slam, where they teach people not to. These are all things you have to consider when you decide to go against somebody. And if you're at a school where your instructor's not really paying attention to these things, or people are getting hurt, then you have to either A, bring it up to your instructor, or B, find a new school. Okay. The other thing is, maybe the bigger, heavier guy wants to try his guard, in which case that's great for you, because then you have an opportunity to play a top game against somebody who you definitely don't want on top of you. So let's see. So Johnny the white belt got done with his round with the big dude, the big dangerous guy, who's the same rank as him, but now he's coming down, and now he's got a female partner, or somebody who's weaker, smaller, maybe a teenager is at open mat. Somebody Johnny knows, even if they have a little bit of rank on him, like a blue belt versus a blue belt woman versus a white belt man. In some cases, that white belt man can still use his strength, dominate the situation, grab a limb, pull on it, grab the head, squeeze, whatever.
Possibly just bench press him.
It's like you don't have to prove anything with this opponent, okay? You don't have anything to prove to your instructor, to anybody. So what does that mean? If you're going against a female opponent or a weaker, smaller training partner, your goal should be to slow the game down or to play a defensive game. Again, this is a situation where you want to make the other person have just as fun of a match as you. You follow so far?
Yeah.
Okay. You got anything to add?
Yeah, I was going to say something that I think either you told me or Jeremy. In those situations, try to put yourself in a position where you are 100% technique and probably 10% strength. I know that math doesn't add up, but
no, it makes sense.
If you feel like you're having to engage muscles, then you're probably not using technique. So if you're able to manipulate the situation where I'm moving my body, but there's no strength behind it whatsoever, and the person topples because they have bad balance, then that's okay. That's good technique. But if you're having to really activate a muscle to pull something that you want, then you're using too much strength.
Yes, I agree with that. And the goal is not to win those roles, because if you know you're capable of doing it, everybody has a Hulk mode, right? Is it still running?
Yeah, it is.
Everybody has a Hulk mode where they can just and abandon all technique and just start using your natural attributes. But that it's only going to get you so far, and you're gonna look like the jerk in class that people don't want to roll with, because you're going too hard with
children.
Yeah, children, the women and the children. So like
the first people that we get out in the event of an emergency, you are trying to hurt.
Yeah, you are just like trying to show off your Chuck Norris skills or whatever. Now he's on to round 3. He's getting kind of tired, right? And now he's got a higher belt. Now it's Johnny the white belt versus Jack the black belt, or Jack the purple belt, or Jason the brown belt. I don't know why.
Like the way you're saying the white belt, it sounds like an actual name. DeWhitebelt.
DeWhitebelt.
The black belt.
So, James, how do you approach rolling a higher belt? This will be interesting.
Well, if it's you, it's death on the line. Like everything goes out the window. I've got to get them. No. approach it the same way you would a very dangerous, calm animal, like a snake. If you had a snake in your yard and you wanted it out, you would find a way to approach it calmly, because if you move in too reckless, it'll respond reckless, and you're probably going to lose.
So you're saying aggression is almost like the kryptonite of rolling with a higher belt.
It is.
So forward momentum is the big danger when you go against somebody who is skilled and experienced in jiu-jitsu. What you want to do is try to control the situation, control what position is happening, right? Whether it's keeping them from advancing, or whether it's trying to make sure that you can. That's that's it. Keep them from advancing. Control the situation, and if they're on your arm, all your thoughts should be, how do I get my arm protected? How do I survive this roll?
Yeah. Piecing the match together to understand where the dangers are. I know it's hard because there's a lot of opportunities for danger with a higher level belt, but if they've got a hand that's close to your neck, your first thought should be survival of your neck. Like, don't try to address their leg while their hand is around your neck.
Your escape goes out the window when the threat of a submission is on the line.
Exactly.
Yeah, all your thoughts should be going to submission defense, not the escape anymore.
Right.
So knowing an escape is great, but keeping somebody from grabbing your head, that's going to be the first step, right?
Yeah.
So which leads into okay, if you're on a higher belt, well, now you're about to roll with your professor, okay? So I know you had used me as an example for the last one, but it really just depends on the relationship you have with him, and also what the where you're at in your journey. Obviously, the head instructor of a school is going to roll with his senior students way differently than he'll roll with a brand new student. And one of the things that I like to do when I'm rolling with somebody is not be competitive at all. And the only things that I try to do is just flow into my positions with little effort. And the white belt that I'm rolling with, if they start to get really aggressive towards me, or they start to I feel like winning is important to them, then what I'll try to do is I'll try to lock them down. I just try to stay really tight. Mm-hmm. I don't try to sweep them. I don't try to submit them. I try to let them make their own mistakes, and meanwhile I'm just slipping off to the side and to the back, or because it's a demonstration of how the game is played, and it's not MMA. It's not full-on brawn versus brawn. You've really got to think.
But no, I see your point. It's just a matter of when you're in those situations where someone is still learning what jiu-jitsu is, how to do jiu-jitsu, and they're pouring all of every muscle they have into that particular match, the higher belt is going to use that to their advantage by either one, this person is going to tire themselves out, and once they tire themselves out, they're going to leave themselves open for whatever I want to do next. And once that opportunity arises, they push everything they have into one spot on your body. They're easy to sweep, or they're easy to push off to the side and take their back. And next thing you know, I'm playing the game from behind you, and guess what? I'm more than likely going to win because you can't punch me and I'm on your back. Once I'm here, this is pretty much the end of the day for you.
What about when somebody, all right, so Johnny the white belt just got done with his professor.
The white belt.
So he just got done with these past 4 rolls, and now he's finally got somebody who would be in his division, right? So somebody who's the same age, the same weight. At that point, if you're the same age, same weight, same experience level, this is your chance to see what you're made of. And in some cases, you might be the better conditioned martial artist, as in you're more athletic, you're more physically fit. And in the other instance, you may be more technically sound. So whereas you lack in physical attributes, you may just have a deep understanding of leverage and technique and angles. The shout out to RW, who was like my primary training partner back in Richmond, Virginia. And him and I were very similar. I was a little heavier than him, but he was way more athletic, and I was a little bit more technically sound. So we would always have these very, drawn out matches. Nice. We were the guys that would be on one end of the room to the other. And it wasn't just jiu-jitsu. Like, we would do actual, kickboxing matches, too, and it would be the same kind of result. And, he helped me prepare for a lot of my competitions when I was coming up early in martial arts. But you need that guy who you can beat, but can beat you too. It's just like a good even match.
Yeah.
That is the role that is the most important. So when you're at a disadvantage or when you're at an advantage, you have to try to recognize that early, and then know when you're like, okay, this is the real deal right here. This is a good even match. Somebody you can, and you're gonna find out quick. Like, if you go against somebody and you just whoop their ass more than once, that's gonna be a sign like, okay, so this person's gonna fall into the weaker, smaller category. Even if they're not weak or smaller, they might be missing a key thing in their game that you are exposing.
Yeah.
And you're either gonna have to, if you want to keep rolling with this person, you could give them even if you have one day of jiu-jitsu more than this person and you know what they're doing wrong, share it with them.
Yeah. You can also it goes back and forth based on what you're saying there. You could move Wally White Belt into that category of the weak or smaller, but in maybe a month, Wally White Belt moves out of that category into this is my peer on peer, like my equivalent of a training partner. So
he might come to a point where now he's the one who's dominating every time you guys roll, and now you have a piece of your game that's missing.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't ever know when you're falling back or or you're either leveling up or leveling down. It's like it's all ambiguous. It doesn't matter. Like, everybody's putting in the same effort, and you're gonna have your good days and you're gonna have your bad days. And early on, it's crazy. It's just, and it's mostly bad.
Doesn't look like jiu-jitsu.
You're gonna have a lot of experiences that are gonna build your rank. Your experiences throughout the journey of jiu-jitsu is what makes you who you become in this martial art. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm following you.
Okay.
It's English.
Okay. All right. So that was a good touchback to all of those things. I just wanted to kind of address the big question mark over what sparring should look like. Also, if you're an upper belt in a school and there's new people joining, of course, new people are going to be aggressive. So as an upper belt, you're going to have to know that going into the match that a new person who may be have similar athleticism to me is going to naturally be more aggressive because of their lack of experience. So trying to be patient with them, don't get into a war. You don't have to show off your jiu-jitsu to the new person. They know that you have the skill, right? I would say fight more positionally based.
I think it's part of the old school mentality of jiu-jitsu where white belts are consumed by the blue belts. Like, we get to eat our own.
Yeah.
So you showed up, hey, guess what? I get a new meal today. You got to kind of break that mentality from your school, because in order for it to grow, you got to have those white belts. And if you're eating them up and shitting them out, it's going to be you and a bunch of blue belts. If you are a higher belt level, you should treat yourself like, I'm the adult in this situation. And a good example, I was rolling with someone yesterday, and I had a straight ankle, dead to rights. I started to pull back on it, and as I'm pulling back, I didn't feel or hear the tap. I looked down, and just as I really start to sink it in, I saw the face wince. And he didn't tap, but it was close enough for me.
Yeah, you can see those like visible cues, right?
Yeah,
Somebody's
so I let it go.
wincing, somebody grunts. Oh
God!
God! I mean, if they make a noise or something, like that should be a sign too to be like, all right, like I'm not trying to win a gold medal against this guy. Let
Yeah.
me take it a little easy.
Yeah, you've got more. If you know you've got more room to give to finish that submission, and you already see the signs of pain on the face, you don't got to keep going until they tap.
Yeah.
If you're a higher level belt, just let it go.
And if
reset, or then give them the opportunity to feel like, hey, I got out of it. Yeah, you do.
This goes back to that same thing. Like if you're new, like be comfortable and get used to tapping and learning different ways to tap verbally.
Yeah.
Do what you can to keep yourself in check and in shape to come back for the next class and try again.
Yeah. See that? We made it full circle, Jeff.
See,
That's good.
I could sometimes organize my thoughts. Sometimes. Anything else, James, that you'd like to share with our audience?
No.
No? Feel good?
I'm good.
Hope you guys got some valuable information out of this, and we will see you next week for episode 10. So long.
Click the bell. Subscribe, like, share.
Help me.